Hey everybody, Van Dorian here with Industrial Mining Mayhem. Today we're taking you through a just pretty generic Abyssal. If you've never seen an Abyssal before, this video could be good for you. We're not going to really go into very many technicalities of Abyssals. It's just kind of a here's an Abyssal, how to do it kind of video, you know. You can disregard what I'm doing right now on the screen. This is the first time I'm taking the ship out, so I'm just arranging everything the way I like it, putting my drones into groups, etc. This here is a T5 Ikitursa fit for this Abyssal. I'm going to also release a video here eventually of our T5, of our corporation T5 Gila fit. But this one here is just the Iki, and we're doing T4s just for the simplicity of them. So when you starting out for an Abyssal, you'll want to create a save spot in whatever system you want to run Abyssals in. Go to the save spot, activate your filament like I just did. For the Ikitursa, I have 3 boosters. The one that I just used increases tracking speed, and it's only like a million ISK, and you can get 3 runs out of the single booster. The other 2 boosters I'm not going to use in the video, nor do I know if I'll ever use them in T4. But I keep them there as kind of oh shit buttons. Now, when we first go in, you'll want to activate most of your modules. The second line module there, the middle bar, is just a kind of a cooldown for armor repairs, using nanite repair paste, so I don't have that active all the time. I'll activate it here and there, but it's not always active. So when we first get into the room, for T4s anyway, I always kill the biocache first, and the Ikitursa you'll only ever go for, in a Firestorm anyway, you'll only ever go for the biocache. Reason for this is because it'll just take too long to go for all of the other caches. There's 3 other in this room. If I were to bring an MTU with me, shooting each one of those with my guns would just take too long. It would be DPS off the targets, and this isn't the fastest ship for Abyssals and by any means. Due to the ramp up from the guns, the Gila outperforms it. Not so much for Firestorms per se, but for pretty much every other Abyssal. I just kind of like the ship. I mean, the Ikitursa is a great ship, and it's nice to have the variety in Abyssals, you know. Instead of running 100 tier 5s in a Gila, it's nice to go to an Ikitursa and have a different style of gameplay, you know. So basically, we start the room. In T4s anyway, we start just by approaching the biocache. In T5s, you won't want to do that. You'll generally want to set your default orbit to like 20 to 25 kilometers. And then right when you get into a room, you will start orbiting either the gate or the biocache at 20 to 25 kilometers. So you're never flying in a straight line toward the big bad guys like the Charybdis Tyrannos right here. But basically, when you first enter, kill the biocache, go loot it, and then just start out with your mystic ammo since it's long range, and try to kill as much as you can before you get too close. Once you do get close enough, you want to switch to occult ammo because it does a lot more DPS. And then, generally speaking, for battleships, I like to orbit them at like 500 because they'll hardly ever hit you when you do that. But Charybdis Tyrannos likes to camp on the out of bounds line, which is that red screen that you see to the left here. And with that red screen, if you go out of bounds, you'll take a lot of damage and probably die. So don't do that. That's why in this, whenever I go against Charybdis, I just get close enough to where I can shoot him with a Colt, and then I just keep going back and forth. I let my drones kill the smaller guys, keeping my main guns ramping up on him or on her. And that's pretty much all there is to this fight. It's a pretty easy room, this one is. I mean, you can take some big hits here and there, like you saw at the beginning. I had to activate the backup shield rep a few times. Now I know I'm not going to take any more damage, so I'm reloading it for the next room, because I don't know what the next room will bring. So I always want to make sure that that's loaded fully before I go into the next room, or at least in the process of loading when I activate the gate. So right here, after the big bad guy dies, Charybdis Tyrannos, generally you can recall your drones before then, because we're 25 kilometers away from the gate, and then our guns can just take out the smaller guy that was left. So make sure, that's one thing to keep in mind, make sure you always recall drones before activating gate. And then for the Iki, either at the end of each room or the beginning of the room, make sure Mystic is loaded so you can fire a long ways away from the get-go. I think the range is 49 kilometers, but you can kill a few frigates or get some decent damage on a cruiser or battleship from the 40 kilometers away or so. And again, I'm just going to start by going after that biocache, kill it, and then I'll look into killing other things. So the main things that you want to look out for the Ikitursa are newts and like snare casters, so entanglers, anybody that can web you. Just because you don't want to go 200 meters per second, you want to go your full 700 all the time. And then drones do pretty good against frigates. So I generally just keep my drones on frigates and then try to keep my weapons on the bigger guys. Just because, the weapons ramp up, so it's never consistent DPS with this ship. So if the more we can ramp up, the faster the big crap dies, basically. So there's a big thing, Dad. If you ever do get out of range or the enemies start going for your drones too much, like I just lost a drone, so I'm going to recall them now because I wasn't paying attention. So you always want to keep an eye out on your drones. That's 1.5 to 2 mil per drone that you're losing if any die. So keep an eye out on them. This time there's no point in sending my drones out because the majority of the damage is going to be from my guns on these three. And I mean, these three still hit pretty hard. I still need to activate my backup armor repair at one point here. And then after the third guy dies, I can turn it off and reload it because just two of them doesn't really do much to you. But there'll be some rooms that you won't even use any drones at all, just because they'll die. A lot of the time, if you come across like a battleship, you'll always want to keep your drones out. If everything else is dead and only the battleship remains, there's no point in putting your drones away because that battleship will never target drones because they can't hit them. So may as well keep that extra 100 DPS on the battleship. Try to burn them down as quickly as possible because those are, naturally what take the longest to kill in Abyssals. Who is that? So yeah, here I'll reload that. I have no issues, with my tank. There's no point in keeping it as backup, so I'm gonna have it ready for next room. In Abyssals, for anybody that hasn't done any Abyssal yet, every type of Abyssal is different. So like in a Firestorm, that left debuff on me above my capacitor bar, yeah, not that one, the other one. The left debuff gives plus 50% armor to both you and the enemies, which is why Firestorms are so difficult, because Trigs are, armor fit. And then it gives negative 70% thermal resistance to both you and the enemies. But since the Iki is also armor fit, that buff benefits the Iki greatly. The other buff that I hovered over a little bit ago, it doesn't matter. It is a cloud, and in some cases it does matter. Not in this one, but that's a shield debuff /buff. So it'll matter for the Gila more so than the Ikitursa. Now this room, I start out, killing the biocache still, as per normal for T4s. And then I want to get those renewing Rodivas down as soon as possible, because those things rep for a lot. You'll see here that I'm going to put out my drones, and I'm going to stick it on that Nurgle. And they're not going to do any damage to him after the shield. They'll do a little bit of damage, then the reps from the Rodivas just keep him up. So there's no point in having drones out here at all. And then after the Rodivas die, you want to get rid of those ghosting Kikimoras, because one, Kikimoras can hit really, really hard. And two, the ghosting, they screw up your tracking, right? Which you lack anyway with an Ikitursa trying to kill small stuff. So right here, I had to switch back to Mystic because that Rodiva is out of range. But you can see that Nurgle that my drones are on right now. They aren't doing anything to him. They might get down a little bit of shield, and then he just reps right back up. So that drone starts taking damage. I recall him, and there's no point in me putting drones out again, because they won't do anything. They're not going to be beneficial at all. Which that's something that you'll learn over, doing, Abyssal after Abyssal kind of thing. Now, in a Gila, obviously drones are the majority of your DPS, but in this, it's all about your guns. So anytime you get close, or the enemies get close enough to you to switch to that occult ammo, the shorter range, more DPS ammo, no matter what stack you're on for Mystic ammo, you want to switch. Get on that occult, because over the time it's going to do way more damage than the Mystic. The Mystic is pretty much only for when you start out the room, and if you simply can't catch up to the ship. And then that blue buff right there, there's a blue cloud on me that I'm inside. And that's, generally speaking, that's a really bad thing. You want to stay out of blue clouds. If there's a battleship in the room, or like a room with 3 battleships even, you don't want to be in that blue cloud. It increases your signature radius by 300%. It makes battleships hitting you ridiculously easy, and you'll just take a ton of damage. So stay out of those. This room, it doesn't matter. And again, you'll get used to that the more Abyssals you do. But generally speaking, that's a bad cloud to be in. Another thing you want to watch out for is, like say for Charybdis Tyrannos. Sorry, while I'm just killing these random guys. For a room like Charybdis Tyrannos, since he hugs the edge of the room, really, really close to out of bounds, if there's a speed cloud near him, or if he's in a speed cloud, which is like a gray cloud that's like swirly, you'll want to be aware of that as well, because that will quickly fling you out of bounds without you meaning to. Because if you're used to going 700 meters per second, and all of a sudden you're going 3,500 meters per second, when you're aiming straight for out of bounds, it's going to be a bad time. So just things to be aware of. I would say, don't start with this fit. It's not the most expensive fit in the world. It's only, with implants, it's only like 2.3 bill, 2.5 bill, something around there. But don't start with it. You're going to die. Just trying to learn all the different types of enemies in Abyssals, especially with the new patch that dropped here recently. Concord hits like a freaking Mack truck. They hurt. If you see the Concord battleships, you gotta kill them. That's the first priority ever, is Concord battleships. They really, really hurt. And until you do enough Abyssals, you're not going to know that, right? So start off, if you don't feel comfortable in T1s, start off with T0s. You can use like a Caracol or something cheap. You're not going to lose a Caracol in T0s unless you just sit there, or have like an atrocious fit or something. But, work your way up. T1s and T2s, they don't really give that much ISK. But they're good for practice. They're good for knowing how to maneuver, how to basically just learning the Abyss. Now, after every run here, like I'm doing, I'm docking up. I'm going to go get another Firestorm filament. I'm going to deposit all my loot because, if in the next run, if I die, I don't want to lose the loot that I currently have. I want to repair those drones. I want to get another drone out because, one of my drones died. So after every run, I dock up. When you do get out of an Abyssal, make sure to pay attention to local because you got that 1 minute immunity timer. And if you have a red and local, they can kill you because the Abyssal trace still shows up for combat scanner probes while you're inside the Abyssal, so they can just wait there for you. So never run an Abyssal anywhere close to Jita because you'll die. Find a safe spot and run your Abyssals. So right there, I was just pointing out, a T4 looting only the biocache made about 24 million in loot if I were to sell everything, which is pretty good. The run took about 12 to 13 minutes. I don't remember exactly. But for 12 to 13 minutes, it's 24 mils pretty good. And then the next run takes another 13 minutes. I think it is maybe 12 or 11 even. I don't remember. We'll see. But since that booster's still on, I didn't need to grab another one. It's still got another, 38 minutes. 38 minutes or so on it. Warp back out to your safe spot. Make sure Mystic is loaded. Activate the Abyssal. And then when you're going into Abyssals, you can watch your capacitor, your full capacitor there. It'll disappear at one point, which you'll see here. It'll disappear at one point, and then it'll start very quickly recharging again. Which these are my implants. I'd recommend these implants for T5. Definitely the tracking speed implant for everything because it's phenomenal for this ship. But realistically, for T4 Firestorms, you don't need the low grade Escaplexian implants. But anyway, back to what I was saying. When the capacitor starts to recharge, you can activate all your modules, and they'll stay active for the entirety of the Abyssal. Right there. So I can activate my modules. They'll stay active for the rest of the Abyssal. So there's a frigate room here. Great rooms. Sometimes there will be a tower that spews out little chunks of lava or something. And if there is that tower in the room, you can just approach it and lure the frigates to it, and it'll kill half the frigates for you. It's phenomenal. But there isn't one of those in this room, so more or less what you want to do is, they still hurt. Frigates really hurt because there's so many of them, right? So you want to focus down the snarecasters first, or any that potentially newt, which aren't any of these. But there are 2 snarecasters here, so I'm targeting them first. Put my drones on something else, my guns on a different target, and just try to burn them down as fast as possible. Generally speaking, you'll really like seeing frigate rooms because they're fast. They take 1 to 2 minutes is all. And then you can move on to the next room. So it really helps if you have a long room. It really helps to cut down on your overall time for that Abyssal. Now, for the general rule of thumb is you want to, if you're clearing a room slower than 6.5 minutes, you're doing something wrong. If it takes you 7 minutes, 8 minutes to clear one room, there's something that you're doing that needs changed. Because if you take more than 6.5 minutes per room, you'll go over that 20-minute timer and you die, including your capsule. So you'll lose all your implants, your ship, everything. So just try to keep it. I like to play it safe and do the 5 minute per room rule, but try to keep it below 6.5 minutes and you'll live. Now right there, I kept my drones in too long. One of them got aggro and was getting blown up. So I recalled them naturally, but I waited quite a long time. In a T5, you won't want to wait that long. Pull them in, wait 2 seconds, put them back out, keep attacking. But in a T4, like, it doesn't really matter. Realistically, I could just kill the rest of this crap with my guns and I would be fine. But again, that's, you know, all this stuff is things you'll learn as you go. The more abyssals you do, the more you'll learn. Again, you will lose ships, so be aware of that. Start out small. Like, I realize, you know, 500 mil is a good bit of ISK for like a Gila to just lose. But in the long run, you know, if you learn abyssals and learn how to do them well, it's going to be well worth your time. Because they make a good lot of money. Even doing these T4s without even full loot, you know, it's like 20 to 25 mil per run, which is what, you know, 60 mil per hour, which is pretty good. But then T5s, which I'll be, like I said, I'll be releasing a video on our T5 fit here eventually. T5s are roughly 75 mil loot per run. So now you're looking at, what is that, even 225 mil per hour if you do 3 runs an hour. Now here I always like to target these what are they called, Skrilla Tyrannos first, just because one, they're already weak, you know, they're missing shield, armor, and hull already out of the gate. Generally speaking, some of them newt, if not all of them. These ones don't newt, which is lucky. But generally speaking, they do. So generally, you know, you just want to kill them first. And then the lucid guys, whether they be upholders, sentinels, whatever, they usually take a little bit to kill. Like right now, there's one of those towers. If you can see my drones, they're all getting hurt. They all were getting hurt because in above my ship, where I'm not pointing my camera right now, you can see little specks of like lava coming, like raining down. That's what you want to lure frigates to, is that tower that's spewing that out, and that's what'll kill your drones as well. So I brought my drones in. I'm not gonna put them back out. The lucid guys, like I said, they take a while to kill, but only because of their armor. After their initial armor, you just melt through them. It's like 2 hits after the armor, and then they're dead. So it does pretty good. And then in here you can you can disregard what I'm about to do here. I'm in an Abyssal channel, and they're linking fits. So naturally, me being very curious, I was looking at their fits here in a little bit. But you know, once you get used to abyssals and know how long things take to kill, you can do similar things to that. Whether it's screw with your own fittings or organize your inventory or, you know, whatever. But when you're first starting out, you know, don't get sidetracked and do this. Pay attention. You know, learn what you're doing, and you'll be fine after, you know, a few abyssal attempts, really. Which I'll also admit that right here there's a T5 Gila fit that just got linked that I check out. If you want to run a Gila and you want to run T5s, one, like I said, and I'll keep reiterating it, work up to it. Don't start out at T5. You want mostly max skills for T5. And then 2, don't use other people's fits. Our corp fit is phenomenal. Akori from IM&M put a lot of his own time and work into helping with fittings for abyssals, and I haven't seen anywhere near as good a fit as what he came up with for our own corp fitting. Like that fitting that I just simulated there, that one guy runs with. You know, it does probably about half the EHP per second. So it has way less regen, and it has 200 DPS less. It only did 650 DPS, where ours does about 850. So if you're going to do T5s, just go to our corp fittings. We have a lot of Abyssal fits in there, and give those a shot. They're really good, and if you have any questions, you can ask in Discord. So right here, I start out like any other room. I kill a biocache and I start killing guys, just little, frigates. And I do a big no-no here. Do not just burn straight at the cache, because generally most of the time, like right now, he's going the other way, so I'm not like going directly at the battleship's face. But most of the time, he's going to be pretty much behind that cache. And I just hit a speed cloud, so I missed the cache. But you don't want to fly directly at them. Which, after I get the cache and approach the gate, I think I fly directly at him anyway. Just don't do that. It's bad practice. Over time, when you get, when you get used to Abyssals and used to how your ship flies, you can do that. Because he's not going to kill you. But when you're starting out, don't do that. You'll probably die. Because you don't, they hit hard. They hit really hard. In a T5, I wouldn't do this at all. It would be devastating. So yeah, again, once I'm close enough to that battleship, I'll stick that occult in. I guess what's it called? Mystic is in right now because of the sensor debuffs. But I'll stop cycling, put my occult in, and keep burning down that battleship. Let my drones handle the smaller stuff. It doesn't matter. And now, since it's only the battleship left, there's no point in recalling my drones. May as well just have the maximum numbers on this battleship to get them down as quickly as possible. I think it takes 2 minutes or something total to get this guy down, but that makes it like a 12-minute run, which is still pretty good because you can realistically get 4 Abyssals in per hour if you're looking at 11 to 12-minute runs. And then just for some insight here, so the second Abyssal here, the first one I made that 24 mil. Second one, after everything, all my crap before that I had in my inventory before it gets taken out, it was just over 19 mil. But we did get that Kikimora blueprint, which consistently sells for 25 mil on contracts. So it's a 45 mil run right here. So it is good money, that's for sure. For once you learn them, like in T4s for this ship, it's like very, very, very minimal risk. So I'm not worried at all about losing this ship in T4s. So it's just an ISK farmer at this point. And about right here, you can generally start just approaching the gate because you have the range on your ammo to keep DPSing him while you're flying away from him. I just played it safe because I have plenty of time. I've got like 9 minutes left, according to that countdown timer, before this run ends. And this is the last room, so I'm not worried about the timer at all. Just recalling my drones, which they already are, and then activating the gate and getting out. If you guys do have any additional questions, feel free to hop in the Industrial Mining Mayhem Discord. There's an Abyssal Runners channel. You can ping me specifically. I'm Vendorian. Or just ping us in game and the IMM-Abyssals channel, or just Corp. I'm in the null set Corp on that character. And then if you see Logic Velocity online in HiSec, that's me as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ping me, and enjoy the rest of the video.